So everyone has their thoughts and perceptions on what marriage should be like. Should marriage be 50-50 in your estimation? Let's hear what these ladies, or primarily this lady, has to say about it.
Everyone says marriage should be 50-50. It's the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard. It's never 50-50.
Yeah.
Ever. And so what we do is we quantify where we are. So if Steve comes home and he'll be like, I got 20.
Just in terms of energy.
Just energy, investment, kindness, patience. I'm at 20. And I'll be like, I'll cover you. I got you, brother. Like, I'll pull the 80.
I agree, 130,000%. And you'll never change my mind on this. I'm very flexible on a lot of things, but a lot of other concepts that we hear about in today's day and age is complete nonsense, but this is not. This makes absolute sense. When my wife is sick, she has the flu, she's had COVID before, right? So who had to take on a lion's share of the responsibility to make sure the kids eat, to make sure they're off to school and the practices and things of that nature? I had to do it. Same thing when it has to do with her. If I'm sick or if I'm out of town on work, she's got to step up and she has to do more than just her 50%. She has to do 90 to 100%. And I do the same thing. So yeah, I agree with this lady wholeheartedly. It is not 50%.
Sometimes we come home, which we have done a lot. My mom has been sick and I'll say, I've got 10. And Steve, like 2 days ago, said, I'm riding a solid 25. So we know that we have to sit down at the table anytime we have less than 100 combined and figure out a plan of kindness toward each other.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because the thing is, marriage is not something that's 50-50. A partnership works when you can carry their 20 or they can carry your 20.
So, and I'm going to take it a step further. When your spouse doesn't have their 100%, and I'm speaking specifically for women, if the woman does not have 100%, or let's say her 50%, right? She's operating on 20, right? You got to pick up the 80. Let's say both of you are 20. I think the man in that situation needs to carry the 80, even if he only has 20 in that moment. If she only has 20, that's all she's responsible for. That's how it rolls with me and my family, my wife. And that's just the way that I think. And we function perfect that way. If my wife doesn't have her full complement of it that day, and neither do I will I will uptake my responsibility. So I got to make my 20 now 80. Because my wife only has 20, I only have 20, I got to make mine 80. I have to. There's no choice in it. Why? Because I'm the head of my household. So it's the same thing at work. If the coworkers, if your employees are sick and they can't make it for whatever reason, then the manager or the owner of the business has to step up, in order for that thing to keep afloat. Both people can't go, well, freak it, I only got 20, and let the other 60 fly out the window. It doesn't work that way. The family and the children cannot suffer. Why? Because your family whole as a unit is more important than any one individual. Your family as a whole in its totality is more important than any one individual in your family. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, as you're going through your day. Men, we've got to do our share. And there are circumstances where we just are going to have to do more. We just have to. So welcome back to another edition of Nonsense. I'm your boy Lee. And in this video, it's so cool to see the light bulb come on. The light bulb has turned on for this young lady, and it is freaking awesome to see. Check it out.
So I've started to experience a huge problem recently. I've realized that you men have dealt with it your entire life. Communicating with women is fucking impossible. Here's the problem. You can't be honest with them. One thing I've learned from studying men is that you guys are often very honest with one another. At least amongst yourselves, you say what needs to be said rather than what someone wants to hear. And that's because it's also what you would want to hear. But women cannot handle the truth. The truth often sends women into an absolute frenzy because the truth can often be offensive and our first reaction is always emotional.
So let me back it up a little bit. 99% of the things she says is correct, but the truth is not offensive. You feel like it is because you don't agree with the objective truth that's in front of you. But the truth is not offensive. It's not. Especially from the gaze of men anyway. from the gaze of women, the truth can be offensive because you're not saying what she wants to hear, which is effectively what this young lady is saying.
I've experienced this firsthand. My friends ask me for advice all the time, and I've never felt more like a girl than when I'm scared shitless to tell them that they might be the problem. I know it's what they need to hear, but because I know how much it would hurt me to hear that, I hesitate to say it. And I don't think men struggle with this as much. So what's the lesson for men? Be aware of this reality, but do not sacrifice your honesty. Even though women are offended by it, it's still the best thing for them in the grand scheme.
So she is absolutely 100% correct. Because there have been times in my life where I was asked a question by a woman and I was petrified. Do I tell her the truth or do I make something up? Do I tell and it's so crazy in these situations when people are not emotionally intelligent. And so you have to kind of backtrack and figure your way out to how to tell them something that you need them to know without actually telling them in a way that they may feel offended. So it's really like, I know the truth, but I'm working around all these emotions in my own brain. Like, it's so freaking hard to deal with situations like that. It's so hard.
A good woman will appreciate honesty, even if not immediately. I know I certainly do.
So, let me ask you this, ladies. Do you appreciate honesty in all forms? Now, if the guy or girl is being respectful, but telling you the truth, is it offensive? Let us know. So, if there was a knife-wielding maniac in a theme park targeting children, trying to unalive them, what would you do?
In France, 4 children were stabbed at a playground by this guy right here. This is a lady trying to protect her child. This is another lady over here trying to protect her baby. This is a dude. There were several men around who they try to encounter this guy, whatever it is, and were kind of like shoving around and running off. So listen, in these fucking situations, a man has to fight another man. This guy.
He hit the nail on the head. There it is. So in today's society, I know we talk about toxic masculinity, and my video is a little choppy, so I was distracted. I'm sorry. So we talk about masculinity being toxic. But what about in situations like this where men are needed? So we already know that there are going to be really bad men out there, really bad scumbags that are going to do really bad things. So there are bad men, right? There are not a lot, but when they do surface, they do irreparable harm and damage to our society. But the bad men have to be stopped by the good men. The good men are needed and are necessary. I wouldn't quite label good men as heroes, but somebody, like the guy saying in the video, has to subdue him until the police can arrive. In situations like this, in theme parks, there are no police. There are no police present. I've never been walking through Disneyland or Universal Studios and saw a cop or two just hanging out. They don't do that. Now, I'm not saying that they're not far by, but by the time the cop gets there and assesses the situation, it could be 10, 15, 30 minutes. How many children could a guy like this attack in that time frame? And I know all the women here in this situation and in most situations are looking around at the men going, who's going to help? Who's going to stop this guy? So it's going to take good men. So when women say, or even some men say, we need to kill all men and get rid of all men, it's impossible to do that. That's why we need men who are masculine men. Masculine men who are willing to risk their lives. And a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, most masculine men are conservative, not liberals. Liberal men would say, ma'am, you fight that man yourself, or help me fight the man. A conservative man, a man who is really about women's traditional roles, would say, women, step aside or get your children to safety, and I will subdue or delay. If he ends up taking my life, I will delay him so that you can escape. That's what real men would do. So if I was there in that situation, I would try to find something to try to shield myself from the knife. And then I would try to have someone try to get all the women away. And I would try to rally as many men as possible because I'm going to have to take a stab or two. I'm just going to have to. Hopefully there's a nurse or a doctor nearby that can bandage me up, but I'm going to have to, especially if my wife and children are there. I've got to play a role. I don't have a choice in it. Somebody's got to take down the bad people. And in this situation, all the men should have band together, say, brother, you got me. You got me. Yeah, let's go. Even if it's just 2 or 3 of us, we can try to overpower him. Each person gets an arm and somebody else grabs a chair or something and pop this guy over the head with it. Let's take him out, right? Let's deal with the law. Let's deal with the judges and stuff afterwards. But I agree with this guy 110%.
Has a knife. He's got this knife he's holding. I'm not going to show the video because it's crazy. This lady's like screaming. I'm not going to show the video on there. But understand the whole bullshit about toxic masculinity and all this crap. At the end of the day, somebody has to confront this guy over here. A bunch of men were like running around and like some guy was up here. He slid down a slide, all this shit. Nobody confronted this guy. There was like several of them. They could have attacked this dude and taken him down. Understand that as a man, you have to be physically capable. Doesn't matter your size. Doesn't matter if you're big, small, whatever it is. You have to still be physically capable and willing and brave enough. Also, in this society, not only France, they don't let you have guns or whatever. So this guy was doing a stabbing he was using a knife. In America, you can't have guns. You can have firearms and be trained on your firearms. There's no way I would sit there and let this shit happen. This guy runs around. I mean, he was running around for like a minute or so, going and stabbing little children in the fucking playground. That is insane. So do not.
That is insane. That is insane. And we're not going to let the video go on a whole lot longer, but I agree with this man 110%. We do need men, good men, to confront bad ones. What do you guys think? Should men be complaining about girls making OnlyFans content? Welcome back to another episode of Nonsense. I'm Lee, and let's jump into it.
There's a girl that can go online and put her ass on Instagram and make more money than the guy that laid the road for me.
Sir, you're the one supporting those girls. As someone who, works just a normal job to make money, I'm so over hearing men complain about this. They bitch about the OnlyFans girls. They bitch about the girls who are half naked on the internet. Who do you think's supporting them? Not me.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree. You can't not agree. This woman is using logic. And I know to every man, it's hitting home. It struck a nerve. She is absolutely right. How can men complain about women who make OnlyFans content when it's men who buy and pay for the content? Like, how are you complaining? But I don't think the men who buy the content are the ones who are complaining. It's the ones who don't buy it are the ones who are complaining. So I think that kind of solves a little bit of it. But I honestly believe that women are beautiful creatures. I do. So, and would I want one of my daughters or my significant other on the internet showing themselves? Absolutely not. I wouldn't condone them having an OnlyFans account. But it is men who pay for it. She's right.
I'm not paying them. Shut the fuck up. It's so annoying. I'm so overseeing this. And then those are the same men who talk about how fucked up women are. There's no good women left. No, the good women are just done with your shit. Like, we're over treating you guys well, and then you cheat on us with these girls that you complain about.
So I'm not saying don't complain about it, because I'm still going to complain about it. I don't think you should be taking your clothes off online, but you live your life. You do what you do. I don't think it's okay. And I think someone needs to tell the young women that it's not okay, because later on you will regret it. You will regret it. Not may, you will regret it. So I don't think they should be doing that. I really don't, because it's going to screw so many things up later on in life. There are jobs you're not going to be able to get because you are an OnlyFans model. Right? You can't do anything that has to do with kids. Once you have that kind of lifestyle, you're making that kind of money, like you can't work in a hospital ever. You can't work anywhere around children. It's done. It's a wrap. You've effectively cut yourself off to I don't know how many thousands of revenue streams that you could have gotten had you have not chosen this profession.
Anyways, rant over. Have a great day.
I will. Thank you. So I do agree with her. It is men who are buying or purchasing the content. So I get what she's saying there. So if you are purchasing the content, then you shouldn't complain about it. But I know me, I want to protect women. And I think a lot of times women in these situations don't have the perspective of seeing things in the long run. So just keep that in mind.